It's a Farm Friday. Let's talk Toronto Blue Jays.
You are Locked On MLB Prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yes, welcome on in to Locked On MLB Prospects, your home for all things minor league baseball. I'm your host, Lindsey Crosby, baseball writer for Sports Illustrated, and thank you for making this your first listen every single day. And today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before, because BetOnline is where the game starts. So the Toronto Blue Jays have, I feel like, for their A-ball affiliates, probably the two affiliates that are farthest away from the home teams. So single A is the Dunedin Blue Jays in Dunedin, Florida. So obviously Toronto to Florida is a good trip. Couple prospects here, and the thing with A-ball, both sides of A-ball here, is a lot of the top prospects have already moved on past that because we are so we're so late in the season. So the top two prospects that are at Dunedin right now is number 17, shortstop / second baseman, Adrian Pinto. And Pinto is a complete spark plug. So 2019 IFA out of Venezuela, 5'6", 156. Usually the smallest player in whatever game he's playing in. Was actually signed by the Rockies. And then he was traded in the Raimel Tapia, Randall Grichuk trade to Toronto. But right now, 157 at-bats, 242, 375, 363 is the stat line for Adrian Pinto. 2 home runs, 11 extra base hits. 4 of those are triples. 5 of those are doubles. And so, something where small but strong, kind of compact, very good hand-eye coordination, and then very good at not swinging and missing. So very good contact ability. For a youngster, he can pick up, he can recognize spin, swing at a good pitch, lay off a bad pitch. Strike zone obviously is smaller because he's a smaller guy. It's geographically, it's shoulders to waist or whatever. He doesn't really expand it that much. He's not necessarily a slap hitter. He's got decent gap power, fantastic speed, as you can tell by 4 triples. Not necessarily a power guy, 5'6", 156. I do think a little bit of that's going to come. He gets home runs from here and there, but a little bit of that's going to come. The big thing here, on base threat. Led the Dominican League with 41 stolen bases last year, has 18 right now in 25 attempts. And so is going to do pretty good as far as speed. Plus arm, it's something where, despite the plus arm, he's played a lot of second base last year, and this year that's probably where he's going to end up. And that's just something where that's kind of what's worked out best for his profile and what he does. Behind him, number 22 prospect in the system, right-hand pitcher Irv Carter. And I know normally we don't go down into the 20s on these Farm Fridays, but there's some interesting stuff here. He was a 5th-round pick. He actually pitched with Andrew Painter, the Phillies' breakout pitching prospect at Calvary Christian in Florida. Imagine being a high schooler and you got to face these two dudes in a playoff series. It's nuts. But 3-pitch mix. Fastball is low to mid-90s. He can touch 96, 97. Really good spin to it. Changeup is more of a split changeup, but I think it's a plus pitch. And then he used a curveball in high school, and now he's kind of scrapped that for a slider. I think the slider needs a little bit more refinement. But the concern here is he's a bigger guy, 6'4", 210, but he's got a lot of effort in the delivery. Kind of like it's kind of violent, explosive, but violent. Good athleticism, good control of his frame, can do some of the timing things you sometimes see Nestor Cortez do or Johnny Cueto do. Little bit of concern because of the arm action and how much work it is in there. So wide range of projections here. Could be a starting pitcher, something like a 4 or 5. Could be a reliever, depending on just that delivery and how that evolves as he continues to grow up, really. But I think the 3-pitch mix itself is promising. Again, the slider, something he's working on still, but the fastball and the changeup could be plus. You're going to give him a chance to stick as a starter. If it doesn't work out, you can move him to relief. High A Vancouver, couple guys here, couple position players here I kind of want to get to. So number 14 in the system, outfielder Gabriel Martinez. 2019 IFA, 275 at-bats right now, 284, 349, 484, 12 home runs, 4 stolen bases. Decent bat-to-ball skills, I'd say probably above average, but the approach sometimes is too aggressive. He'll expand the zone, he'll chase stuff, and he's got good enough contact ability where you can get away with a little bit of that. But something where, enough barrel control, things like that, but something where he needs to not let that continue to get worse as he continues to move up in the minors. Defensively, corner outfielder, I don't see him as somebody who is has the good enough reads, routes, reactions to play center. So you're kind of stuck into a corner. Left field feels like he's most comfortable there. He's going to have to hit. The defense isn't a carrying tool here. He's going to have to hit. I feel like he's got the raw talent to do it. It's just a question of refining the approach and not being too eager to chase. Number 20 is shortstop / third baseman Alex DeJesus. 6'2", 170, 2018 IFA. Was actually acquired from the Dodgers in a trade. Kind of heavily 3 true outcomes kind of guy. So when everything's going well, really like a really good swing, natural loft to it, can drive a ball kind of gap to gap. But he's susceptible sometimes to spin from a righty. He's listed as a shortstop. I'm kind of calling him a third baseman. He's a below average runner, larger frame, is still adding weight to that frame. So I see him as somebody who's going to have to move to third, but quick first step, good reactions, plus arm strength. He can absolutely play third. I think he'd be average to above average. And he's going to be one of those guys that's going to be like a power hitting middle infielder or power hitting corner infielder for you in the middle of your lineup. Question is just, how does he adjust as he moves up on different levels? And can he not end up being too aggressive? There is a pitcher here real quick I want to mention. Right-hand pitcher, Diane Santos. So he's one of those pitchability guys for me. A little undersized, 5'11", 160 for a righty. Undersized for a righty. But pitchability guy. So fastball can hit 94, 95. He's got like a low 3/4 slot to it. But really good feel for throwing the secondaries. Throws a curveball, throws a changeup. Curveball's a tight spinning curveball. Could look a little slurvy at times, but above average pitch. Changeup is something where above average, I think it could be plus. He sometimes doesn't have the consistency with it. But somebody who physically isn't that imposing, but the 3-pitch mix, good control, the athleticism that he has, I think that he can be a starter with a little more refinement. There are some top prospects that are in single A and high A right now out of the 2022 draft. So right-hand pitcher Brandon Barrera, the prep pitcher, is the 4th prospect in the system, has not been assigned to an affiliate. Probably won't get assigned until next year. Shortstop Tucker Toman, the number 8 prospect in the system, is in rookie ball right now. And then shortstop John Kasevich is in single A in Dunedin, a number 9 prospect, and number 10 prospect, second baseman Cade Doty, is in A ball as well. In just a minute, I want to get to double A in the New Hampshire Fisher Cats. But first, today's episode is brought to you by our friends with Liver Health Formula by Pure Health Research. The key to sustainable weight loss is through the liver because it's the body's metabolic furnace. It has the job of flushing out harmful toxins and igniting your fat-burning metabolism. But it's overworked in a lot of people because modern diets have a lot of processed foods that aren't as healthy for you as a whole food, plant-based diet. And then obviously there's constant exposure to man-made environmental toxins, whether it be smoke, whether it be just all kinds of options. So it is easy to rejuvenate your liver health and reignite your metabolism thanks to Liver Health Formula by Pure Health Research. It contains 8 liver-boosting super nutrients: turmeric, beet, artichoke extract. All of these things work together to wake up a sluggish liver and turn it into a toxic flushing and fat-burning machine. Something that could potentially help with a bloated belly, uncomfortable digestion, feeling tired and low on energy. And then Liver Health Formula can make it easier to maintain a healthy body weight long term. As a listener of our show, you can try Liver Health Formula risk-free today and get a free bottle of Curb Fit with your order. Curb Fit's a safe and all-natural appetite suppressant that makes it easy to say no to unhealthy foods. Makes it the perfect complement to Liver Health Formula. So go to getliverhelp.com/MLB to learn more. Again, that's getliverhelp.com/MLB to try Liver Health Formula completely risk-free and claim your free bottle of Curb Fit with your order. Go to getliverhelp.com/MLB now to get started. Okay, so the New Hampshire Fisher Cats, AA affiliate. Couple top prospects here. This is where we really start to have some fun. Let's talk about Ricky Tiedemann. Left-hand pitcher, number 2 in the system, 2021 third-round pick out of junior college. And situation where he entered the 2020 draft. It was a 5-round draft. He didn't get picked. He went to junior college for a year, was draft eligible in 2021. At 18 years old, got drafted pretty high in the 3rd round. So velocity's kind of picked up since he got into the pros. He was like a high 80s, low 90s guy at junior college. He's now mid to upper 90s in bursts. Now, when he pitches as a starter, it's not as high as when he's pitching in relief, but something where the velo's much better. So fastball's good. The changeup, I think, is one of the better changeups in this entire Toronto system. Plus changeup, he feels good about it to both lefties and righties, which I absolutely love. Slider is average. I think the thing here is it's inconsistent. He doesn't always keep its shape, doesn't always land where he wants it to land. He can throw strikes, but his arm slot doesn't always stay consistent. And so when he loses the arm slot, the movement of the pitches gets a little different. The control isn't quite there. And so he can sometimes get hit. Started off in high A this year, 8 games, 37 2/3 innings, 54 strikeouts to 12 walks, 2.39 ERA. Got a promotion to AA. He's had 2 games in AA. So 5 innings total, shorter outings to acclimate to the level. 7 strikeouts to 1 walk. Now he's given up 5 hits, 3 earned runs. But something where we really can't judge too much on AA because it's a small sample size. We're looking at the high A results. And absolutely looks like a guy that can be a number 3 if the mechanics can get more consistent. And again, the big issue there is the arm slot. Just has to keep the arm slot consistent so that you can have a repeatable delivery, and then the control sticks and the pitches move the way you expect them to. Right behind him in the rankings, number 3, Orelvis Martinez, 2018 IFA out of the Dominican, 6'1", 190. Guy that is playing shortstop for now. I expect him to end up at third base. Internally, the Blue Jays think he can stick it short. Outside of the organization, a lot of folks don't necessarily see it. But either way, I think it's something where he's a below average runner as of now. And as he continues to put on a little bit of healthy weight, mature a bit, I see that slowing down a little bit. So third base ends up feeling like the most likely fit for him. He's got a good arm, 60 grade arm. He can stick over there. It's just something where I don't see the range maintaining enough for him to do shortstop long term. So this year, he's spent the entire year at Double-A, not had an amazing year statistically, as far as batting average and on base. So 211, 283 is the batting average, the on base percentage. Not amazing, 27 walks in 96 games, but slugging 480, 27 home runs. Highest he had done in the season was 19 in 71 games in low A in 2021. So 27 home runs is absolutely playing into the power potential where we think he is. Can hit the power, has the power to knock it out to all fields, but likes to pull it more. Strikeout rates kind of ticked up as he started to lean into the pull side power, and that's something where a talented pitcher with a good breaking pitch can kind of make you pay for trying to pull everything, right? Because typically you're going to be trying to get ahead of a fastball and they can sequence something on you. So we see that some in there with him. He's been, at times he'll work on it and get a little more selective and the strikeout rate ticks down a bit and then he'll kind of get back into his old rhythm. So I expect he's going to be like more of a 3 true outcomes, maybe a lower batting average kind of guy, but plenty of power. I do think he probably is the best power hitter in this system. I see him as somebody who could be a 30 to 35 home run guy in the bigs, and he's not that huge right now, 6'1", 190. He has room to add some healthy weight to the frame and a little bit more strength. But someone who, at this rate, I expect him to probably come back to Double-A and then move to Triple-A next year versus a Triple-A big league kind of thing. And obviously, you do have Matt Chapman at the big league level, so there's some questions there. Number 5 prospect in the system is pitcher Yosver Zulueta. There you go. 2019 IFA out of Cuba. And dude has had tons of injuries in the past. Not necessarily his fault, fluke stuff. So had TJ after he got signed, spent all of 2020 when there was no season rehabbing. Was looking pretty good in spring training. Coming out of camp, was assigned to go to Dunedin, so single A. First batter faced, he's covering first, tears his ACL. Lost the rest of 2021. Went to low A again this year. Kind of dominated there. Went to high A. Looked pretty good there. Is now in Triple A. So, is now in Double A. So it's the third level he's been in. So in Dunedin, 3 games, 12 innings, 23 strikeouts to 3 walks, 4 earned runs. So 3 ERA. ERA went to 3.8 over 6 games at high A, and 5 games in Double A, 2 starts, 3 relief appearances, 4.35 ERA. Striking out about 14 guys per 9. Has some issues with control. Has 10 walks in 10 innings in Double A. So situation here where very powerful 4-pitch mix, right? Fastball, high 90s, 4-seamer, sits 96 to 98. He can touch 100 with it. Has a hard, sweepy slider. He can run it up into the high 80s. It's got above average MLB levels spin rate to it. Changeup, I think the changeup's his best pitch. Gets a lot of run with it, arm side. Doesn't have a whole lot of vertical movement to it, and so it plays well with the fastball, tunnels really well. Has a curveball, upper 70s, isn't quite vertical, it's 11 to 5, but has a lot of drop to it. Really strong 4-pitch mix. The issue, as you can tell by the walks, is the command. Fringe to average, he does flash it average, he does flash better control for stretches, but something where good overall profile, high octane stuff, just has to work on the control. Has to be a little more consistent, be able to throw strikes and not walk nearly as many guys. Double A is a big jump. That's the biggest jump you'll make in the minors. He's going to Double A. So something where I expect him to kind of figure some of that out as he has more time in Double A. And obviously, he's incredibly raw because this is in essence his first taste of professional baseball here, even though he was a 2019 IFA. So he's age 24 in Double A, but it's not his fault. Developmentally, he's a little bit younger. So he'll be a late bloomer, but I expect he absolutely has the tools to contribute at a big league level. In just a minute, I want to get to AAA Buffalo and the Bisons, a park that Blue Jays are familiar with because they played so many of their games in AAA in Buffalo in 2020. But first, today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. You can get all your favorite sports info and events at the number one source for odds, lines, and games. You get reviews and news of every league, MLB, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, golf, and even esports. And BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering information. Live in-game betting, scores, they have you covered. They actually just sent out odds the other day. For the first time, the New York Yankees are no longer the biggest favorites to win, to make the World Series out of the American League. The Astros have now passed them. So Dodgers still have the best odds, 13-4 odds to win the World Series. The Astros are now 4-1, second best odds. The Yankees are 9-2. So the Yankees slump that they're in right now has brought them down to third overall odds, second in the American League. Second in the National League is the Mets at 5-1. Third in the National League is the Braves at 9-1. And then third in the American League, believe it or not, are these Toronto Blue Jays, 18-1 odds to represent the American League in the World Series. So head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action and to get in on the Toronto Blue Jays World Series train, because BetOnline is where the game starts. Okay, the AAA Buffalo Bisons. You can't discuss this system without discussing number one prospect in this system, catcher Gabriel Moreno. So the Blue Jays have had fantastic catcher performances this year. Alejandro Kirk was an all-star. You've got Danny Jansen. Fantastic performances. So they haven't needed Gabriel Moreno. And so he's just going to, he's spent some time. I think he's spent like 18 games at the bigs for injury things and things like that. But for the most part, he's been in AAA most of the season. And listen to what he has done in AAA, okay? 52 games, 301, 370, 398. 2 home runs, 15 extra base hits in 52 games. 6 of 7 on stolen bases. Shout out to a catcher that can steal some bases. 29 RBIs, 26 runs scored, but 301 batting average in AAA. This dude is big league ready. He's the best hitter for average in this system despite being a catcher. He's the best defensive catcher in the entire system. He's the number one prospect. He's been the number one prospect. And this is something where I think that he still can be better than what he is. He only now has like 2 seasons of being the full-time catcher. And so he's like 200 games of catching experience. So I think he can be better at game calling. Like he still has time to learn some of the finer points. But defensively, he's above average now. He didn't used to be. He's above average now. Really good athleticism, as we talked about with the steals, to be able to block pitches in the dirt, things like that. Plus arm, quick release with it. Pop time is below 2 seconds. He throws out like 40% of base stealers, which is just about an elite number. Obviously, won't get that high. Won't be that high in MLB, but fantastic numbers for where he is. And in 2021, actually didn't allow any pass balls. I don't have numbers for 2022 yet, but didn't allow a pass ball in 2021 in like 30 games behind the plate. So, but he's not as good as his defense could be. His offense is, I mean, he's going to chip in above average defense at a premium position, but he's here for his offense. Perennial all-star is what the belief is here. Plus to plus hitter. I've seen 70 grade on the hit tool. I've seen 50 grade on the power. You know, and this was something where it's kind of explained why he didn't catch him in the games last year. He broke his thumb last year. But coming back out of that, you know, low strikeout rate. You know, strikes out, I think, what was it, right now, in 52 games, he struck out 38 times. That's it. 20 walks to go along with that. He has the swing has evolved as he's grown. He's tapping into more power, but he still has like a really quick, efficient swing, so he can get to velocity, especially up and in, which is a thing that we talk about a lot, is fastballs up in the zone. Can kind of like barrel. He can get some barrels on pitches up in the zone and velocity in on his body. He pulls it. A lot of guys do, but the point is he can catch up to it. Something where his swing is well suited to where the game is going to now. His exit velos consistently, you know, the tops are 108, 109, things like that. He makes frequent contact. He can use the entire field. And I think he's got average to maybe above average power. We'll see where it ends up. But it's something where he is an aggressive hitter. And so I think that's part of it too, is he'll chase or he'll swing at a borderline pitch versus maybe being incredibly patient and waiting for the best option. You can see it in his walk rates. He's gotten better at that, but still something where I think the next step to unlocking the premium power is just getting better at, instead of swinging at a borderline pitch, waiting for his pitch to hit for a mistake and crushing it. So very excited. And it's a question of what are you going to do with him if he continues to do this? Like I mentioned, he got a cameo in the big leagues this year in 18 games, batted 276, 300, 293. Didn't have any home runs, but held his own offensively as far as batting average goes. And with Jansen and Kirk, you have one of the better catching tandems to go along with, I'd say, Atlanta, Travis d'Arnaud, and William Contreras. So where do you fit him in? How does he get to play? We got to figure that out. But fantastic prospect. A couple other guys here just want to mention briefly because I don't want to keep you guys too long on a Friday. Hayden Younger, right-hand pitcher, 6th round pick in 2021, 6'1", 180. Fastball slider change guy. I like some of his stuff, but he was a reliever at Missouri State. And so he hasn't gone super deep into games because they're still doing that transition. You know, he spent last year trying to start. It was, you know, sorry, we're going to go back and cut this. Hayden Younger, right-hand pitcher, number 7 prospect in the system, 2021 6th round pick out of Missouri State, was exclusively a reliever in college. They've been moving him into a starting role. So 20 starts at AA, or 17 starts in 20 games this year in AA, 56 total innings. He's not going super deep into games. 67 strikeouts, 56 innings, 21 walks. They promoted him to Buffalo, 7 games, all in relief. 15 strikeouts over 12 innings, 6 walks. Fastball slider change is the mix, but just something where he needs to be more consistent with throwing strikes. I feel like the slider's a little bit below average. The changeup's above average. The fastball's above average. Really more of a pitchability guy than anything. The fastball has good velo, can hit 97, sits mid-90s. So the four-seamer kind of will miss a bat. But changeup's really good. Slider needs some work still. So I think they're going to end up using him as a reliever. I'm not sure if he's going to get a chance to start, but either way, useful pitcher. And the number 13 First baseman and outfielder Spencer Horwitz. Spencer's a guy that is trying to unlock some more power. 2019 24th round pick. The fact he's still in baseball as a 24th round pick, you love to see that. 6 foot 190, fantastic plate discipline. So 326 at-bats right now, 285, 396, 482. Great on-base percentage. 12 home runs, but something where he's learned to get for more power now than he did in college. Has to continue to work on that. Defensively, he's average at first base. He can play some left field as well, but he's going to have to hit more to stick. And so he's working on the power. It's starting to come. We're seeing it better. Like I said, the slugging's 482. And as he continues to develop the power combined with walking a ton, you're going to see a guy who's going to be a useful, he can play a first base, like I said, below average to maybe average, or can be a non-prototypical DH, walk a lot with a little bit of power for you. Either way, intriguing prospect. Want to see Spencer Horwitz figure it out. Fantastic week this week. A reminder, last chance, if you have questions for the show, I'm on Twitter at Crosby Baseball. The show's on Twitter at Locked On Farm. Or you can email us, lockedonmlbprospects@gmail.com. That mailbag will run on Monday. But until then, this has been Locked On MLB Prospects.